All right, we're live.
Yes. We have 5 minutes.
That's right.
Okay, we have 1 minute.
Oh, I get a glass of water.
Hello, hello mga ka-SoCal. It's another day of our SoCal Pinoys virtual class. And tonight, it's really exciting. We have Tomas Delos Reyes, or Thomas.
Tomas.
Thomas. Is it Thomas or Thomas?
Tomas.
Tomas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it right.
You did.
So Tomas is the brand ambassador for Don Papa Rum, and he's going to be showing us how to make a signature cocktail drink using Don Papa Rum. Yeah, you wish it was Don Tomas Papa Rum, right?
I'm working on it. I'm working on
You're
it.
working on it?
Yeah.
Like maybe 6 months or so.
Well, you know what? When I was young, I do remember the Mang Tomas lechon sauce that came out.
Oh, true. Did you
So
get a lot of jokes
that
about
was
that?
I was literally the pork butt of the joke.
You're the owner. That you have the Mang Tomas with you every day.
Yeah, I heard about it all the time. Um, cool. Thanks for having me. This is exciting. I've been like we were talking earlier. I've had a chance to pivot my role because well, first of all, for everyone, I'm Tomas Delos Reyes, the West Coast brand ambassador for Don Papa Rum. Um, Quick history on me and what I've been doing in this industry. I've been in the bar and liquor industry for well over 20 years. I'm originally from San Francisco, started bartending in nightclubs out there, lived in LA, bartended at a restaurant here back in 2000. And then the bulk of really where my career launched was when I moved to New York back in 2003. I started working in hotspot restaurants, and it exposed me to a lot of interesting people who worked for different brands. So I started working for brands on a freelance basis, doing events. And, when you're in this business, it's a lot of fun because one, you meet a lot of people. And two, the more you're out and about networking, and this is, part of my training here is to understand the power of networking and building your career. Uh, it led me to more opportunities. So the more brands I met, the more opportunities I had. But also, what eventually happened along the way, I ended up opening up a restaurant, actually Filipino restaurant. I was a founding partner of a Filipino restaurant in the East Village as the partner and bar manager. And that again, that exposed me to more people. I met more brands, but also I was able to really meet a lot of people from the Filipino community out there, which was amazing because I'm born and raised in San Francisco, so cultural identity was an interesting one for me growing up. Food was always, my connection to culture. So it's funny that 20 years so years later in this industry, I'm full circle representing a Filipino-made rum. So yes, so yeah, so we're going to talk about Don Papa. We're going to make a quick cocktail. The point of this training is for you to understand some basics for you to understand basics if you're not familiar with one, if you're not familiar with rum, other than knowing that it's rum, and two, simple technique to make a cocktail using ingredients you can find in your fridge, right? Cool. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, let's talk about rum. Rum is actually a spirit that's essentially made from sugarcane. So when we talk sugarcane, it's good to know that as far as being Filipino, that Southeast Asia and specifically the Philippines was one of the places that sugarcane was originally found, and it also grows in the wild. And this specific rum, Don Papa, is made on the island of Negros. Uh, So the sugarcane there in the Philippines, and specifically Negros, is referred to as noble cane. And what that means, what that means in the sugarcane world, it produces some of the highest quality sugarcane juice. So when you get your sugarcane juice, how this rum is actually made, you take the cane, you extract the juices, and you bring down that sugarcane juice to a molasses form. So from then you make the molasses. Making molasses is like basically it's a reduction of sugarcane juice. So you cook down the sugarcane juice and make this thick dark molasses, and from there the molasses goes into fermentation. When you ferment, okay, I love making kimchi, so I ferment a lot. So the whole idea is ferment with fermentation. You're creating some alcohol in it, and from that alcohol base, that's when you go ahead and distill. You're concentrating the flavors, but also the alcohol content in that fermented molasses. From then on, you get a clear spirit, and with the molasses that we produce on Negros, this molasses is actually definitely one of the sweeter molasses you'll get because of the high sucrose in the sugarcane juice. We take that and then we age it. So our flagship, Don Papa 7, is aged for 7 years in ex bourbon barrels. So these are ex bourbon barrels, barrels oak wood barrels that have had American bourbon in them for 7 years. So there's a few things that are happening when you do that. When you anytime you age in a barrel, you're pulling some flavors from the wood. I like to talk to when I talk about American oak and flavors. Think about Chardonnay. When you're drinking Chardonnay, a lot of people say, yeah, it's very buttery and oaky. So it's that oaky, buttery flavor. So you think about those flavors. Those are the kind of flavors that you're pulling from oak. So you think about how that can affect a sugarcane based spirit. So when it comes off the still after the distillation process, it's light, it's kind of sharp because it's a fresh, clear, concentrated spirit. So what aging does, it actually not only gives it some of the flavors from the wood, but it also mellows it out. A lot of people think when you age something, brown spirits are stronger. It's actually the opposite. The clear spirits are actually what's going to be sharper on your palate. It's the aging process that pulls, that rounds it out and makes it actually easier to drink. And it's not stronger or weaker because if you look at all the bottles, their average is 40%. So 40% is high, generally speaking, for someone who doesn't drink. But for someone who does drink spirits, it's not going to be stronger or weaker. It's actually going to be softer around the palate. So just kind of keep that in mind. Um, when you're when you're when you're sipping or tasting. Now, okay, so we have our 7 year here that's been aged in ex bourbon barrels over 7 years. So when you're aging in barrels, you're getting two things. You're getting a concentration over the years of color and flavor. So concentration of color and flavor, which essentially gives it a color. So there's a light, dark color. A lot of that's influenced from the barrels. These barrels not only have been, this wood is not only turned into barrels, but the barrels inside themselves have been shaved, toasted, and roasted. So there's flavors that you're going to get from the toast, from the toasting of the barrels, but also those you're extracting flavors from that oak. Primarily, what you're going to get on this spirit is vanilla, candied fruits, maybe a little bit of honey. So if you have some Don Papa with you right now, come with me for a second and let's go through a tasting. So obviously, there's several steps of tasting. First step is you taste with your eyes, right? We're always going to taste with our eyes first. This is this kind of part of the attraction and all that. So this is a great color. Second point of taste is the nose. So, okay, it's really important to distinguish between nosing a spirit and nosing a wine, because when we nose wines, we're so used to digging our nose in it and getting those little nose notes of the oak. Sometimes if it's red, you're going to get berries or sometimes chocolate and a cab and a Cabernet Sauvignon. But with spirits, understand that the proof is higher. One of the reasons why a lot of people get turned off with spirits, or they say, "Oh, it's so strong," is because your first initial point of taste is to dig your nose and smell. Because it's so high, what you're doing is you're burning your olfactory sensors. There's those 10,000 little sensors in your nose that kind of break down what you're smelling, and it burns. And if that's your first experience, of course, when you sip it, it's going to be strong too. So in order to really understand and appreciate any spirit that you're drinking, it could be vodka, it could be gin, it could be tequila, bourbon, whatever, rum specifically in this case. I invite you to try this technique. It's very simple. So instead of digging your nose and inhaling and burning your olfactory sensors, what I'd like you to do, if you have your rum with you right now, is approach it slowly and inhale with your mouth slightly open. Like, so what you're doing by inhaling it first and softly is that you're filtering out the alcoholic vapors out of your mouth. So it's not going to burn, actually. It won't burn at all because the alcoholic vapors is just passing through. And what you're really going to get are the nose notes that people talk about with anything. You know, when you're talking rum, a lot of times you'll get a lot of notes of caramel, and then you can get some of the oak depending on. So this our Don Papa 7. Okay, when I nose it off the bat, notes of vanilla. Okay, remember when I was talking about oak? One of the primary notes that you pull from oak is vanilla. Vanilla, a little bit of butter. When I was talking about Chardonnay, so in this case, we're getting a lot of getting vanilla, candied fruits, and then a little bit of spice on the back. That's what I get. You know, it's we're all going to smell different, but I'm just giving you a little bit of notes to work with. So next time you nose a nose a rum or any spirit, you have a little bit more education behind it, and you can understand it more. The more you understand, the more you appreciate. Sound good? All right. So obviously we can taste, and sure, 40%. You're going to get a little. You're gonna, you know, you're obviously going to feel that, and then on the palate. But because you set yourself up through the nosing process, you've now given yourself time to, oh, okay, so I'm getting vanilla, I'm getting candied fruits, a little bit of spice. So what that does is set you up for the palate because you know, okay, think about when you're, you know, if you have a cold, you can't smell. If you can't smell, you can't taste. So that's how important your sense of smell is to perceiving what you taste and how you enjoy it. So that's my little 101 on tasting and appreciating. So if you have it, cheers. Enjoy it because if you just shoot it back, which you know, I hey, I grew up doing shots too, but I did learn once I learned techniques, I was able to appreciate and spend time more with what I had to drink. And again, it's all about understanding and appreciating. Cool. All right, so yeah, Don Papa. So the whole thing, I was asked, I actually get asked a lot by Filipinos is, I've where did Don, you know, where's it been? I've never heard of it. Okay, so a lot of you haven't heard of it, mainly because it hasn't been around that long. When you talk about rum from the Philippines, there really is only one rum from the Philippines that's made its way stateside, which is Tanduay. You know, when you talk about Filipino rum, the most popular one is Tanduay. Yeah, they were actually the first Filipino rum to make it stateside. I think that was back sometime back in 2010. Yeah, sometime in 2010. Anyhow, uh, Tanduay, one of the biggest rum companies in the world, their export was was mainly for kind of everyday drinking, you know, cocktails and all like that. But the difference, the big difference with Don Papa is that we are the first rum to actually enter or actually go global as super premium rum from the Philippines. So, you know, why is that so special? It's special because, you know, we're a small batch made, you know, we hover along the side of craft distillers, small batch, you know, it brings, it's, you know, it's definitely more limited than what you would get from a big producer. But, you know, we are growing. Right now we're in 28 countries. We launched in the United States in 2007, yeah, around 2017, and out of New York, Boston, and LA. In LA, we've been here for about 2 years. Very low key. Um, we can talk more about that later because I'm starting to get questions on where to find it. We're growing. That's why I'm here, and I'm here to speak the gospel on Don Papa. But also, I'm here to show you a cocktail. Uh, okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to make you a Don Papa cocktail. And the idea of this cocktail is to make it easy, accessible for anyone to make at home using easy ingredients that you can find in your fridge. Okay, so cool. This is actually something I just made for a Zoom presentation for some people in press, and surprisingly, they loved it. One, because it was very refreshing. So what I'm going to make for you is a refreshing cocktail. And two, because they love jam too. We all have a can of jam a jar of jam in our fridge, right? Most of us do. And I have about 3 or 4 different. But today I'm going to use a raspberry jam. So this is basically a take off of a bramble cocktail. That's the style. But the ingredients are going to be very easy. So when I'm doing a cocktail, I usually try to limit the ingredients and make really the spirit itself stand out without being too overpowering. And when you're making cocktails, what you want to do is make a balanced cocktail. So we talk about adding sweeteners. Yes, we're going to add sweeteners, but the goal of the cocktail is make it balanced because we're using a lot of ingredients. We're using our spirit, we're using our sweetener, but we're also using our citrus, which is our sour. And then if you don't have it yet, Angostura bitters. This is actually a bartender's best friend, but it's also good. It's good when you have a stomachache. Bitters and water. It's like a digestive. It works like a digestive, but also it's a combination of different barks and herbs from Trinidad. It's been around forever. Bartender's friend. This is actually the salt and pepper of a cocktail. So if you don't have a bottle, get one. They're easy to find in supermarkets, and they work great because say if you happen to make a cocktail at home and it's too sweet, put bitters in it and it'll help balance it out. But we're not going to do that. We're not going to make a cocktail too sweet right now. We're going to make a cocktail that's nice and balanced. Okay. All right. So let's go. I'm going to turn my camera down here. So this is I call this cocktail the Orchard Street, mainly because berries and it reminds me of Orchard Street in New York City. So there you go. All right. So, everyone see okay? Cool. All right. So when we talk about tools, I would say if your starter, grab one of these cobbler shakers. The reason why is that you have everything you need to shake a cocktail. It's 2 parts. You can build your cocktail in here. This is the top, but it also acts like a strainer. And then you have your lid. So these are good, easy to find, and really good to use. But because I enjoy using my 2 tins, which are easily available too at specialty barware stores, I'm going to build it out here. Okay, so when you're making a cocktail, what you always want to do is put your spirit last. So why are we putting our spirit last, you ask? Okay, the main reason why is because when you're making a cocktail and say, I'm putting my jam in, right? If I already have my rum in there and I put too much jam, I pretty much messed that cocktail up. So you can't really take out the jam. It's just messy. So always put the spirit in last. So you don't waste the spirit if you mess up with the ingredients in the beginning, okay? Sound good? All right. So let's start off with our raspberry. I'm using raspberry jam. Again, you can use any jam that you want in your fridge. This cocktail can work really well with strawberry, grape. These are all blackberry. So think about those typical jams that we have, and that all works well. So I'm using 1 teaspoon of my raspberry jam. And you know what? If you want it sweeter, add more jam because some of us like it sweet. All right. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to take half of, okay, if you don't, these are actually a fun tool to have too. If you don't have one, you can get this at Bed Bath & Beyond or just, homeware stores. It's a citrus press. It's nice because you can squeeze the juice pretty easy. So I'm going to squeeze half of a lime into that. Here's another great tool. This is called a jigger. It's a measuring jigger. It has measuring lines and on the large side, it's typically 2 ounces and there's a line in there. That's for 1.5 ounces. So that's a good measure. But for the sake of this cocktail, we are going to use 2 full ounces. So I'm pouring it over. In case I spill in the shaker. So there you go. And then again, my final ingredient, my Angostura bitters, 2 dashes. All right, so you have your simple, right? You have your raspberry jam, your raspberry jam, your lime, your Don Papa, of course, and your bitters. All right, so I'm gonna go add some ice. And shake. So yeah, so I've got I have more tools than the average household, so lots to play with here. But all I'm gonna do is take my glass and pour that in. Very easy. Look at the color. So you're getting the color. Again, remember I was talking about, first thing you taste is with your eyes. So what we have here is our bramble made with Don Papa, the Orchard Street bramble. Don Papa 7, raspberry jam, lime juice, and Angostura bitters. And on the nose, so you're going to get that Don Papa still comes through. You get the vanilla, a little bit of the oak candy. Yeah, now you got the jam and the citrus. The citrus actually has a nose to it. It brings it up. It brightens it up. And then nice and balanced. I actually like it a lot more on the sour side. And the thing about this cocktail goes really well with kind of the fatty. Great. It works great with fatty foods, like fatty dishes. Oh, I can actually. It could be a breakfast cocktail too, with some longsilog. I think I'll do that tomorrow. It's my day off. There you go. Easy peasy. What do you think? Any questions?
We actually have some questions. Um, I'm back. So we actually have some questions from our YouTube live chat, and
Okay.
someone was asking if we can use strawberry.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I said, like I mentioned earlier, like any jam you could use. Yeah, like the common jams I see a lot. You say if you go to a diner are strawberry, raspberry, blackberry, marmalade. Marmalade works really well
Oh
too.
wow, that sounds
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So you can
About
use so
grape?
grape. Yeah, yeah. I mentioned grape as well. So that's what I'm saying. That's the easy part about this cocktail is that it's just stuff we have in our fridge anyway. So
That
yeah,
is so yeah, that sounds really good. I want to taste it. And when you said the tapsilog, I'm like, oh,
right,
that's a
right.
different
I was thinking,
combination.
wait a minute, because when I was saying when I told you
It's
I
kind
do
of
it,
like a mimosa, mimosa for the
it's
morning. Don
yeah,
Papa Rum in the morning.
it's why not? Well, when I said I presented for a group, it was actually a group out of London, and they loved it because in London they're really big into jams. They eat a lot of jams. They drink a lot of tea and eat with a lot of jams. And someone mentioned that, oh, this would be a great brunch cocktail. So I was like, oh, okay. And I thought about, when you have a cocktail like this, and I said I prefer it a little bit more on the sour side, and it's good. It's good with fatty foods because it helps cut the fat and it clears your palate. And so instead, by the time you're done with your dish, instead of just feeling the load of which we all love. Trust me, I love it. But you're kind of left with pretty clean palate at the end,
That sounds so awesome. I
right?
mean, the way you explained it, I'm like, wow, I want to try one. I gotta get my Don Papa Rum out. I have a whole bottle.
Yeah. Well, another way to enjoy it, if you don't want to make a cocktail, literally, my go-to cocktail is a Don Papa with tonic and lime.
Oh,
Perfect,
wow.
perfect balance. Tonic is really, a lot of people don't think of tonic, unless you're drinking a gin and tonic. Um, the tonic that I use this one specific brand. One of my favorites is Q Tonic. Anyways, the reason why I like Q Tonic is because it has a perfect balance of this little bitterness to it. So that works well with the rich. There's it. Don Papa can lean on the sweet side. It's a Spanish style rum, which leans on the sweeter side.
Mm-hmm. That is
Yeah,
so cool.
yeah.
And someone else had a question. Where can we find Don Papa Rum in SoCal?
Okay. Right now there's like I said, okay, one of the main reasons why I have a job is so that more people can know about it, and also more shops can carry it. A few bigger houses that actually do mail or can send it out to you if you're not in the area. There is SoCal Wine and Spirits. I believe that's in Tustin. High Time in Costa Mesa. You have Mission Wine and Liquor in Pasadena. Who else do I know that will? Oh, KNL Wines. They deliver. I think that's, yeah. They're only available online, but they'll deliver it. And then if you're over on the Venice, Beverly Hills area, there's Wally's and Lincoln Fine Wines.
Do you see any stores in the Inland Empire or San Bernardino, Riverside counties carrying Don Papa?
You know what? We actually just switched over to a major distributor, so they're all starting to drop in new places. So I'm literally getting reports every month of new places that are carrying it. I'm more than happy to, if you want to direct people my way and ask, they can reach out to me directly via Facebook or through email, and I can find out my latest report and then shoot them a message. Just because that's pretty much what I've been doing a lot lately. I've had a few people start to reach out, but we're thankfully we're growing. We're going to be in more places. I don't know exactly at this moment, but yeah, like I said, I can just I can refer to, depending on where you're living, I can refer to my uh, latest report to see where we're now placed at, and I can send you there.
Mm-hmm. That sounds good because a lot of our members live on the east side of SoCal. So that's Inland Empire,
Hmm.
San Bernardino, Riverside counties.
Ah,
Yeah, large majority of our memberships from that area. So that sounds good. So I'll have them contact you. And
yeah.
someone was asking about the different types of Don Papa rum. And so what are the different kinds? I know in your website there were four, if I'm not mistaken, but someone was asking about Don Papa 7. Is
Okay,
that right?
this is Don Papa 7.
Okay.
Okay, so the only two bottlings that are available in the United States right now is the Don Papa 7. Don Papa 7 simply means Don Papa 7-year old, 7-year aged in, again, extra bourbon barrels. We also have a Don Papa 10-year. So for those of you who understand aging and and look to numbers as a sort of standard to what you would drink, the 10 years simply means that it's been aged for 3 years longer. But the big difference with rum from the Philippines is that the climate is so hot and humid there that the concentration in the barrel aging is a lot higher. So you end up coming out with a deeper, darker 10-year than you would I would see a lot of other rums. So, anyways, long story longer, we only have two bottlings right now, the 7-year and the 10-year. We are going to be releasing another mark next year. For the most part, a lot of these other marks that we're going to be releasing are going to be more on the limited edition. So yeah, as of right now, we only have 7 and 10.
Awesome. Hopefully we'll get some other ones from the Philippines too.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
pretty
that's
cool.
that's the thing. I think what you might have seen on the website is the sherry cask.
Yeah, I know there are
Um,
like redder ones.
yeah. Oh shit. Yeah. There's a few. There's also some bottlings that may not reach the U.S.
Oh,
Because we're
cool.
because sometimes some of the releases can be slated for different regions. A lot of spirits do that. So the last 5 years I was working for Hennessy. So
Oh,
certain
wow.
certain style bottlings you can only find overseas. So whenever I was traveling, I would grab a different bottle of Hennessy at the shop just because you can't find that bottling in the U.S. So yeah, so a lot of spirit brands that have global presence will have different styles of bottlings for their those different markets.
Okay, so I think that's about all the time we have for questions and answers. And do you have anything else to say to our viewers? Would you like them to invite them to your next demos or pop-ups and other events?
Well, at the moment, we're a little as far as events, those are put on hold for now. So this is really where I'm more than happy to come back and do another training. We can work on another cocktail. I have I've been integrating more Filipino food ingredients into my cocktails. Like for instance, I have a ube syrup. I use bitter melon. We can talk about that on the next stream if you'd like. But as far as Don Papa Rum, I would say, you could start off by following us on Instagram at Don Papa Rum. Um, if you want to follow me for some reason, you can follow me at Tomas Moves. That's TOMASMOVES. That's where I am, and you'll see some of the things that I just do and I love to do. A lot of it focuses around promoting positive mental attitudes.
And I got another question. So
Yeah.
one last question. So we have quite a few viewers from the Philippines on our YouTube channel, of course. Where can we buy Don Papa Rum in the Philippines?
You know what? You can definitely find it in Makati. That's what I don't know exactly. That's something I'd have to reach out and to my friend my folks in Manila to see where exactly you can find it. But I know it's all around Makati. We're actually I know for a fact that when you're in and around Metro Manila, some of the more cool the cocktail mixology bars, we're in a lot of those. And then yeah, retail. I know it's out in retail. I'm not familiar with Metro Manila as far as retail, but that's not it's not difficult to find. So yeah, reach out to me. I can easily get that information.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. This is such a fun night of making cocktails, and I'm looking forward to more of it. And so before we all go, I just wanted to say some reminders and announcements for everybody. So don't forget, we still have a contest going on. It's actually a raffle. It's the every 100 YouTube subscriber raffle. And we're looking to get 300 subscribers. So when we get 300 subscribers, I'm going to raffle off one cheesecake from Linda Tiongson Mendoza. She owns My Sweet Faves, and apparently she makes really good cheesecake. So that's something to look forward to. And I also wanted to tell everyone that next week we have youth basketball, no hoop needed by Mary Pasio. So she's our very own basketball coach. And this class is really mainly for kids who are into basketball and sports, but adults can also practice because, she'll be teaching us some dribbling techniques and passing techniques and all those things, that kind of make up the game, right? So that's like really fit. I know there's a Lakers game happening. So if you guys watch this later on, yeah, we do have a class next week. That's on Thursday. It's at 6 o'clock p.m. with Mary Pasio. That's basketball with no hoop needed. And I also have a whole bunch of virtual classes coming up this October. So I'm going to be announcing them really soon. And one last thing, we do have a songwriting contest. And if you check our group page, I have an announcement there. We have really, really, really cool prizes. And this time around, I reached out to our service businesses and non-food vendors. So yeah, we have new people on the list who are giving away prizes. So that's about it for tonight. And we'll see you at 8:30. There's a karaoke session, 8:30 to 1 o'clock. Same place on YouTube. And we'll send you the link to Zoom, those people who are participating. And thank you so much, Tomas Delos Reyes, brand ambassador of Don Papa Rum. And we
Thanks
look
for having me.
forward, yeah, we look forward to having you again, maybe next month or the following month to do another
Sure.
cocktail or something.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's
maybe
do
you
it.
can cook some tapsilog and we'll have some. We'll send it to the rest of us.
I'll send you
That'll
the
be
recipe.
awesome. Yeah, like, and then we'll see, like, is it really good with a cocktail? You know? So don't forget, look out for those things this October. And we'll see you guys soon. Good night,
All
everyone.
right.
Bye.
Bye.